Hello and welcome to all the ghouls and vampires out there. I'm Joe, here with me is my co-host Dan.
Hello and greetings.
And this movie was wait for it some more because you're going to be waiting another 50 years because, well, this franchise tends to move that slowly. I'm kidding. That's a nod to How I Met Your Mother. A much better franchise. Anyways, this movie starts off right after the start of the previous one. And which was better melatonin than melatonin, in your words, the other day.
Yeah.
In this one, Laurie ends up at the hospital because, she's kind of wounded. Fair enough. After she fell asleep next to a murderer, the chief of police ends up, discovering his daughter died, so that kind of shocks him, and he decides just to take the night off to tell his wife, which I guess to an extent fair enough. Loomis is the same patient, calm, cool, collected doctor he was in the first movie. Or, as Hollywood would translate that, he's an armed vigilante ready to take anyone who looks like Michael Myers out. But before he can take out one drunk punk, some drunk cop comes around and rams the kid into an ambulance out of nowhere and sets him on fire. This scene is so random. You jumped a little just out of, what the heck? Like, your expression was like, where did that come from? And then, of course, I'm going, oh, yeah, by the way, this is the scene where Ben Tramer dies, and you're like, the Ben... Sorry, it's just... Like, Cinema Snob made this franchise more exciting than what it is, to an extent. Sorry, but I have to admit, I love the Cinema Snob reviews of these franchises. I actually like to watch his reviews more than I like watching the movies. Except for Halloween 4. That movie's solid gold. Or at least silver. Maybe not gold. Gold would be the Friday the 13th 2 fan films we've reviewed. Or gonna review if we haven't released it yet. Whoop-de-doo. Something to look forward to. But, oh man, like, as to Loomis, he does have to go investigate at the school at one point. The word Samhain, which means Lord of the Dead, and it's a celebration of, well, trying to cast out evil spirits from one's locality. So he's doing that. Laurie's basically healing. Some random guy called James Lloyd, or Jamie, or Jimmy, guess who he's the dad of? Works at the hospital, is about 19 years old, and, well, works in the ambulance. Good kid, has a thing for Laurie. His partner, to an extent, I guess, in terms of work shifts, is a moron called Bud, who likes to seduce some of the nurses while they're on duty. And one of the nurses agrees to it, which is just... I mean, you're on baby monitoring duty. What are you doing having fun like that? Like, there's a murderer on the loose. What are you doing? Those children need protection.
And
of course, we do have at least two decent nurses. We've got the one blonde, whom I don't know the name of. I just called her Heloise Nurse after the nurse in Animaniacs because she's very pretty.
And she kind of looks a lot like her.
Yeah, and you've got the one black nurse, or half-black nurse, who seems really nice and smart.
And dedicated to her job.
I really liked her. Sorry, I liked how she's like, man, can't live with him, can't live without him. But at the same time, she's basically going, yeah, we all have our duties to fulfill, especially those of us who work at this hospital, now more than ever. Which, kudos to her. Sad that she dies. Sad that Heloise Nurse dies. As to one of the other nurses, who's rather pretty, who can't work one of the walkie-talkie radios, she dies, I think, because of course she does. The guard who handed her the communicator just pretty much did not explain how it worked because he didn't hear her, and hurried off to go try to fix the phone line and investigate what was going on. He got killed, because of course he did. Basically, there's a lot more death in this movie than in the first one. There's also a lot more explosions and backflips, because of course there is. It's a sequel that has to outdo the first one. I'm joking, or try. Or die trying. See what I did there? Loomis, though, ends up put under arrest because the doctors at the asylum decide to scapegoat him, despite him being the most competent guy around. He did not know that Laurie was Michael's sister. Dun, dun, dun! Yeah, okay, we all know it. And I've heard some people say, well, this was basically copying Star Wars to an extent. But, well, yes. But in some ways, here the revelation flows more naturally. As we have Laurie flashbacking to when she was a little girl and did visit Michael once and saw him as a dark-eyed, malevolent young boy, which it was the only time Michael stopped staring at the wall or out the window. And I suspect that this reunion happened when Loomis was probably, well, had the day off, so that the asylum decided to have the visit, regardless of the dangers, just to see what would happen. They seem like these sort of irresponsible monsters who would. On the other hand, Loomis, realizing that she's the sister of Michael Myers, decides, okay, screw it. I gotta save her. And since the local marshals refuse to do their duty, it falls on me. So he then ends up blackballing a cop into doing his job, rushes off, and the guy insists on trying to revive Michael Myers when he thinks he's not breathing, which is really dumb. And gets himself killed because, you know, there is some justice in this film. There's not much because Heloise nurse and the head nurse die, but there is some justice because Bud and this moron die.
Bud died in a very hilarious
way, yeah, to a garrote. But on the other hand, I have to admit that I kind of wish the nurse Chambers went down because I didn't really like her in this film. Because, well, she's a yes woman, and she was keeping information from Loomis. And obviously doing it for a paycheck. But Loomis takes out Michael by blowing himself up, because of course he does. And apparently Laurie's a better shot than anyone else in this film when she takes out Michael's eyes in a heartbeat. But, yeah, what did you think? This movie does not have as many slow starts to it as the first one. It does not shuffle along over the course of an hour and a half so that it feels like 54 hours, as I said in the other review.
At least there's something happens.
You were going to say at least there's a story.
Yeah, that too. At least there's a story.
Yeah, I know. So that's good. It has a bit of a story. Not a great one, but it has a story. Not like the first one.
I didn't fall asleep.
No, you didn't. That's good. So at least it was monotonous, but it was at least it, like, look at it this way. No matter what, you're probably going to fall asleep during one or two of the Friday the 13th movies. But if we were to gauge in terms of slasher, if you look at like Friday the 13th Part 2, even Part 6, those are great films. Or at least in the case of Part 2, if not great, at least good.
Yeah.
And fun. It's enjoyable. But the first two Halloween movies are not all that good. Like, let's be honest. I kind of prefer to look at them, well, skip over them, not look at them, as basically the prequels or the prelude to Halloween 4, which is at least a decent horror film. And I say horror, not slasher, because that film is all about the fall of an innocent soul to evil. The fall of innocence. So there are themes and ideas and pathos in number 4. That said, there's multiple timelines to this Halloween franchise, so that it's one of the most convoluted franchises in cinematic history. But I prefer to just go with Halloween 1, 2, 4, that's it. I stop there, because everything else is just, no, don't. Let's not even go there for the most part. But we might review the other stuff, because why not? We're masochists. I'm kidding. Well, maybe not 5 and 6. Those are just so bad. Yeah, they just get zeros like the first one. But let's rate this one. Now, On the bad side, they end up killing Ben Tramer when the best part of the first, not episode one, but the first movie was the impending romance. And at the start of this film, you're kind of waiting, like, what about Ben Tramer? When's he gonna, like, rescue Laurie? Oh wait, he's dead. Shoot. Now what's there left to do with this film? I'm joking. Anyways. Now, if we have to rate the Cinema Snob reviews of these films, they're all 4s. But if we have to rate this film itself, how would you rate it?
I guess a 1/4 star. There were times where I was wondering, because of some of the randomness, is this supposed to be a horror or a comedy?
Oh, yeah, when all this fly closet stuff. Yeah, I'm actually going to say this is I wanted to say a 1 star, but I'm going to say, well, we got great scenes with Loomis. We got a bit more of a plot. Laurie, at least, some of her wooden acting, like, not some, all of her wooden acting is mostly covered up with quick takes and, like, cutting to and from her, and actually having decent actors constantly with her so that, we have decent scenes, because, Jamie Lee Curtis is not a very good actress. Sorry, I'm just going to say. So, you've got... let's see. I like the plot with Loomis. The police plot is pretty good, but Loomis doesn't have much screen time. I guess Lance Guest, I think the actor's name, James Lloyd, is pretty good. 3/4 star for me. I can't rate it above that. This movie is good for the Halloween franchise, but that's not saying much. That's not exactly a high bar. Considering you've got, like, Halloween 3, Halloween 5, 6, Rob Zombie 2, all 0s. So, yeah. But our next Halloween review might just be the Busta Rhymes one, just for fun, because that one's at least funny. It's a bit more of a comedy. We might watch that, or Halloween 4. Let us know in the comments section which one you prefer to see us review. And don't forget to smash that like and that subscribe button if you enjoyed this video. And even if you didn't.